to the Variant Geek Podcast. I'm Brennan.
And I believe I'm Zach.
And today we have a very, very, very special episode for you all. Finally here, man.
I know, we've been waiting for it for so long.
Years. And I mean years. We have been waiting and crying and waiting, and they finally listened. We got Ewan McGregor to finally come back as Obi Wan Kenobi in an Obi Wan Kenobi series.
Yeah, I'm just, oh my god, I am really, really enjoying it so far.
We'll get to it, but literally every episode keeps getting better.
Oh yeah.
But we'll get there. We're gonna go one by one here, but then we're gonna be doing.
We'll start with the first thing we actually hear with the show in episode 1, and
the recap.
Well, I was actually going to mention the theme.
Oh, the theme, yeah.
I think it's the last time we'll actually hear something composed for Star Wars by John Williams, because he came back and composed it, and I love it. It's eerie, it's dark, but at the end, it brings in that like hope that we see, and like that. I think that's Obi-Wan's whole character arc for this is, we see him go from really broken and
we're already seeing
giving up.
We're already seeing it now. It's going to be interesting to see what. Well, again, we'll get to it.
Well, yeah, to the hopeful Alec Guinness.
Yes. Also, the fact that he gets from Ewan McGregor currently to Alec Guinness in like 10 years.
I mean, it makes sense. I mean, he's under a lot of stress and duress. I mean, you see what our presidents look like after 8 years in office.
True. Poor guy.
Obi-Wan after 9 years in the beating double suns, having to hide, constantly being hunted by bounty hunters, by the
Inquisitors. Chilling until now.
Not being able to really do anything. I mean, it would take a toll on him, and I could see how we go from 50-year-old Ewan McGregor to, older Alec Guinness. But anyways, the recap. I liked it. It was really cool.
Dude, my brother skipped it on accident at first.
What?
He was trying to pause the show because I got up to grab some water and he had started it, but it automatically was skip recap, and I went no, and I sprinted over and rewound it. Oh man!
And it was like, oh my gosh, this is what I've been waiting for. And then he shows up. Oh, actually, no. The first thing that happens is the Order 66 scene.
Dude, that Order 66 scene was better than the entire Halo series.
Dang. Yeah, from what I've seen of Halo.
Just like
tune into our
TV
episode, but
watching oh my god. Just like
shameless plug.
I knew what was gonna happen as soon as homie started dancing around. I was like, "Oh no, we're about to see."
I know,
aren't we? And then the doors open up and the clones pop in. We're like, "Hurry!" And I was like, "Oh god!"
I saw the younglings, and I was like, "Yep." Of course, we're getting an Order 66 scene again.
I'm honestly a little bit surprised now that I've seen more of the show, and honestly, kind of the brutality that the show is starting to go towards. I'm a little surprised none of them got friggin' murked straight off the cusp.
Well, so I watched Star Wars Theory's like breakdown of it.
What? You watched Star Wars Theory?
I know, right? Who would have thought? And there's like a semi zoom in on one of the younglings, and a big theory is that the younger black youngling is Reva.
Is the third sister? Yeah, I mean we called that day one. To figure out why she'd be so zealous and pissed.
It would make sense as to why she knows. Like, we'll get into it later.
Yeah.
But then we see Obi-Wan on Tatooine,
living his life day to day.
Yeah, just trying to make a living for himself as Ben Kenobi.
The interaction between him and that Jawa was so heartwarming and made me so happy.
Yeah. You can see how
at least you can try to sell them back to me. You could at least clean them first.
I love that line. You can see how he's kind of you can at least start to see how much he's given up on the Jedi and
on everything.
When the Jawa brings out the belt that was from a Jedi, and he's like, yeah, all the Jedi are dead.
Yeah. Or even when the homie pulls up on him in the middle of the night, he's like, Master Obi-Wan, I've been looking for you. The Jedi who was being hunted by the Inquisitors on Tatooine. Um, and he pulls up and he's like, I don't know who you are. I don't know what you're talking about. And then he's like, look, man, go bury your lightsaber in the desert and move on with your life. I was like, jeez.
Yeah, and that Jedi
And
was just, I don't remember his name, but he was just like, what happened to you? You were not the Obi Wan I knew.
And the line, I mean, it was in the trailer, but seeing the line delivered in context, it made it so much better. The whole, well, what about the war? And it's like, the war's over. We lost. I was like, oh my, he's at the end of his rope completely.
Yeah, and then, you see him interact with Owen Lars.
I
in town.
So happy that Owen Lars, especially, oh gosh, I'm blanking on the actor's name, but the guy playing Owen is getting to do something other than just a couple of one-liners here or there.
Yeah.
It's really awesome to see it because it's like starting to make a little more sense. Because it's like, oh, why wouldn't he like be training Luke maybe from a younger age? And then boom, there you go. Well, he doesn't want it. He's telling him to bugger off.
Joel Edgerton, that's his name.
Yeah, because it's homie's brother.
Taron Egerton is related to him?
I don't know. I just kind of said that.
I was like, I mean, they have the same last name, but I mean, that also doesn't mean a whole lot.
No.
But yeah, and then, he's like, Obi-Wan's like, so how's Luke doing?
And he's like, don't ask. Would just stay away.
Because he's like, you don't care. Because you just want to know if he's showing the Force.
And I love
that. Obi-Wan.
He's like, I could train him like you trained his father. I was like, ooh.
Like, oof, yeah. Owen being intimidated by the third sister, by Reva.
No, he wasn't
dying.
He was stonewalling her, but yeah, no.
That was great. The Grand Inquisitor's doing great so far, even though
stupid.
I mean, obviously he has to be alive because if he's not, they completely retcon Rebels, which they can't do. Because what I've seen is that his species has 2 stomachs.
He'll be fine. He's been
a little bit of time in the bacta tank. The bacta tank fixes everything.
Hey man, Finn took a whole lightsaber up the spine and should have been cut in half, and all he had to do was sit in there for a couple days.
We'll get to it, but there's something that made me really happy. Actually, you actually saw it in the first episode, but you actually see dismemberment in this series, which Disney has been dancing around so much, and I don't know why.
Just that lady, you have no authority here, cuts her hand off. I literally started cheering, and my brother's like, "That's horrible." I was like, "No, you don't understand. I'm cheering because Disney's not afraid anymore. They're like, oh, this is Star Wars. It should be Star Wars."
Yeah, and then I love the Star Wars fan base, but it is toxic.
Yeah, that poor, because the little gal playing Leia is doing a great job. She's a 10-year-old.
Yeah,
it's like you were an annoying little shit when you were 10. Everyone was.
Like, I mean, she's playing the spunky, rambunctious, adventurous young Leia that we see 9 years later in episode 4.
Yeah, and it's like the running around, everyone was all pissed off about it. And like, yeah, the scene weren't shot amazingly. Sorry, my boys, I love you. They weren't shot amazingly, but it makes sense. I mean, she's this tiny little spry kid ducking under trees and everything from this bumbleless idiot bounty hunters. She's not gonna get caught immediately, but I mean, she gets caught. But
and then
I saw someone complaining on the internet, surprise, surprise, about when she's running away from Obi Wan on Daifu.
Oh yeah, in episode 2.
And they were like, "Oh, why didn't he just like force pull her?" I was like, "Dang, that's crazy! Almost like he's hiding, you dumbass."
Yeah, everybody's like, I've seen multiple posts about how like, we haven't seen really Obi-Wan use his lightsaber much. He doesn't really use the Force, and missing no Qui-Gon Ghost. They're missing all their opportunities. I'm like, my dude,
there's a whole series. There's a whole broken man. One, and for 2, of course, he's in hiding. He's been cut off of it for 10 years. We've seen what happens when that
because he hasn't been completely cut off because he's been trying to reach Qui-Gon.
Yes, but like
it's very rusty. It's like a muscle. He hasn't used it in a while.
He has been obviously using the mental force, but like the physical, like push, pull, the lifts, all that, he's not doing that. You go try to deadlift 450 after not lifting for like 10 years and let me know how it goes. Same concept. Anyway, but yeah, episode 1.
Yeah, and then he meets with Bail Organa.
Yep, because
Who
Bale
I love the actor who plays Bail Organa. Does him really well.
Yes.
Um, and then Bale gets him to, and I think this is there. Some people are like, why is Obi-Wan interacting with Leia at this point? But Leia doesn't know that his name is Obi-Wan. She knows his name is Ben, and that's why.
She does
Yeah,
later, but
and just the fact that this is why Leia knows who Obi-Wan is and knows that he can help her.
yeah, because he has
On episode
before.
4. But then you see him dig up his lightsabers, his lightsaber and Anakin's lightsaber, and then he gets on his
Also,
ship.
the catalyst for getting him to actually go after Leia of that young Jedi being killed and hung up in the square.
Yeah,
That was good job. That's good. Good emotional
man.
storytelling.
So, what would you give episode 1 as a rating?
As a first episode, honestly, I'm gonna give it a 9.5 only because the shooting of the attempted kidnapping was kind of cringe.
Yeah,
but overall, it was very good.
I would agree. I'd give it like a 9.25 out of 10.
The only reason it isn't getting lower is because the Order 66 scene was phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't a lot, but I mean, it helped.
Dude, I want a whole Order 66 movie. Is that messed up?
You just want to see the younglings get slaughtered.
No, I want to see the fight because it wasn't instant. It took a little while, and I just kind of want to I want to see that expanded upon. That'd be so awesome.
And then we move on to episode 2, which helped improve. And the thing that, because it happens within the first. He arrives on the planet. What's the planet's name again?
It's Daiyu or Daifu. I can't remember exactly.
Daiyu. I think it's Daiyu. And you see the clone trooper, begging for money. And I saw that and I was like, oh my God. Because I think
it's the first time Tamora Morrison's actually been able to play a clone physically.
Yeah. And I was really excited because he's wearing 501st armor.
Yeah.
And for us, I really want that to be Rex. I really want that to be Rex. But obviously, it's either Rex or some other 501st.
It's just really curious because it's basic run of the mill 501st armor.
Yeah.
So he can't be, but the odds of him being someone important is few and far between. And it'd be really interesting to find out how the hell this 501st clone ended up on Daiyu, because it wouldn't have been very long after 66 because they changed over armor. And Homie was still in the blue and white.
Because the 501st becomes Vader's fist.
Yes.
But then, the Emperor, they don't really want combat efficiency as much, so they go away from the clones to the stormtroopers, and they want more numbers. So that's why they keep, hiring more and more people to just join the army
or conscripting by force.
Yeah, either or. And so just being able to see that transition a little bit, because we haven't really seen much of that transition. Rebels kind of sort of does it, but not really.
And we get to hear it a little bit later.
Yeah.
Again in season 3, in episode 3, where you get to hear some stormtrooper lines. But again, we'll get into that later.
And it was really just, it helped bring that kind of hopelessness, being like, yeah, I mean, they lost. It helps to show that they lost. The good guys lost. But then
he's
going around trying to find Leia, and eventually he becomes Heisenberg for 5 seconds.
Well, did you know the girl that gave him spice is his daughter?
Yeah, I did know that.
I went because I saw her and I went, "Hey, yo, you're the kid that that's effing Obi Wan Kenobi sprouted because of."
It becomes Heisenberg for 5 seconds, which was kind of cool. And then you see him fight, because I don't think it was the first time, but it's been a long time since he's seen a Zabrak other than Darth Maul.
Yeah.
And so, and also just him being rusty as a fighter. He
got smacked a couple times.
But, I mean, he hasn't fought anybody really for a while, so it makes sense, and it helped definitely make the character more believable.
So when he infiltrates their little hideout to go find Leia, and the three bounty hunters hold him up, and he's like, I didn't know Jedi could bleed, and he punches him in the stomach. I really like seeing when he drops the spice to disorient them, and then he gets a lick in on the guy and smacks him. I really like seeing that because I think it's showing a nice again how he's not that stoic, like, by the book Jedi anymore. He's just pretty much just a dude at this point.
Yeah.
Like, he wouldn't have, at least not often, done that little campy little I'm gonna punch you because you punched me. Like, he would have risen above that, but it's not the same Obi-Wan we know anymore. He's different now. He's changed. I liked that. It was very subtle, but I liked it. And then obviously he grabs Leia and they go to leave, and then third sister shows up.
Yep, bounty hunters.
Hires the whole world to find him.
Yeah, I like how you can see how the other Inquisitors absolutely hate Reva.
And I like it. People have been complaining because they're like, oh, she's too much, she's too intense. I don't think people understand. It's just, she's just evil. It's like, and people are like, oh, well, the Sith are the bad guys, but none of them have usually been like that. It's like, no. They have been, like, in other forms of media, but, like, there's a Sith code. Doesn't mean they have to follow it, especially, like, the Inquisitors. They're Jedi hunters. They don't have to follow a code by any means. They're just nuts.
Yeah. Well,
why I love the character.
We see it near the end of the episode how she knows, because that's one thing I did have an issue with this episode is at the end when they're getting ready to escape. She mentions that Anakin is Darth Vader.
I hated that.
Nobody is supposed to know Vader, and anybody that does know
is either dead or the Emperor, Tarkin, or Thrawn. Those are the only three people that know.
Yeah, like, I feel like there's a better way Obi-Wan could have found out that Anakin was Vader.
Like what happens in episode 3. That would have been a great way.
Yeah, and I mean, it was just, I didn't really like that part. Also, the fact that she stabbed the Grand Inquisitor in the gut.
Yeah, that was really cringe.
We haven't seen him yet again. Hopefully we do, because he has to be alive.
I hope the Grand Inquisitor is the one to kill her. Because she's either going to die or turn light. Eventually she'll die, because we don't see her in anything else after the fact.
But the theory that I kind of agree with is that Reva saw Anakin slashing down all the Jedi during Order 66, and then she heard some of the clones reference him as Vader.
Yeah.
And so she just kind of put 2 and 2 together.
Which would make sense.
That's how she knows.
Yeah.
And that would make sense and help us figure. But also, like, I don't know how she's hidden the fact that Darth Vader is Anakin from Darth Vader.
Yeah.
But hopefully, I'm sure they'll explain it and everything. The other thing that we completely glossed over in episode 2 was the fake Jedi. Kamali Nanjiani.
Great job.
And like that, I mean, as I've said like 100 times, it deepens the story. I mean, you see that, the Jedi, people are just, acting like Jedi to make money because they can. And they lost and nobody really cares. And it's an easy cash grab for people.
Yep.
It's an easy way to exploit people.
Mm-hmm.
And then on to episode 3, which is my favorite so far.
Yes.
It starts out.
What would you give episode 2 as a rating?
I give episode 2 a 7.5 out of 10. Like, I did enjoy it, but there were some aspects I was like, eh.
I agree.
And especially that last scene was meh. But I also
the last scene.
The last scene.
The last scene was incredible.
Was amazing because you see Obi-Wan say Anakin, and then it pans over to Darth Vader as he's in Bacta.
Yeah.
And you see him open his eyes, and I was like, yeah, baby.
I was like, yeah, baby, that's what we're waiting for. That's what it's all about.
But no.
Episode 3.
Episode 3 was, you see Darth Vader talking to Reva and how he doesn't care about the Grand Inquisitor. He just cares about
Obi-Wan.
And so you see them, they're on the cargo ship and they make their way to the new planet. I don't remember the name of the planet, honestly, right offhand.
Keep talking.
Um, and they're going to the meeting spot, but he keeps telling, because Leia's still young, she's optimistic, and she's like, oh yeah, they'll be there, and he's like, not everybody's nice, Leia, not everybody's good.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't believe they're going to be there. And lo and behold, they get there and nobody's there, so they hitch a ride with.
I do want to say though, I do want to jump back real quick. I really liked hearing their Obi-Wan talking to Leia about the Empire, because at first he paints it as bad, and she's like, wait, it's bad? And he's like, no, like they try, like not everyone. Like I really like that it's painting the picture that the Empire is not all evil.
Yeah.
There is good in the Empire. It's like any government. Like it's not, even if it's a bad government, maybe there's some good people that work for it, like we see later in the episode. It's not all bad, and I really appreciate them trying to like humanize the Empire to an extent, because it's always just been the parallel to like Nazi Germany. That was the original idea of just evil, but now it's like, oh wait, it's not all horrible. It's a whole galaxy out there. It's not all horrible. It's just ran by some psychos. Because at the end of the day, like for example, Bail Organa is technically an Imperial senator.
Yeah.
But
like you see Obi-Wan mention that like there are some good people.
Yep.
Still trying to do good, but there's a lot of people that are doing.
Oh, but there's plenty of evil. It's still horrible. Yeah. But yeah, they hitch a ride.
With Vecht, was that his name?
It was like Frecht or something.
Freck or so. Correct us in the comments if we're wrong.
The Mole Man.
The Mole Man. And he was all happy-go-lucky. He's taking him on.
I really liked that, because he was like, "Yeah, I love the Empire," and it was just really cool seeing that. Oh yeah, not everybody hates him.
Yeah, and then they pick up the stormtroopers and they have that dialogue. And when he was like, "Leia, they know what they're doing," I was like, "Oh shoot!"
I know. He goes, "Leia," up. And I went, "Bruh."
And then the stormtrooper calls him out on
your plan, and you're failing.
Because some shows don't do that, or even like games, you make a mistake in dialogue and the other people don't acknowledge it, and they immediately acknowledge it. He's like, wait, what'd you say? You called her Leia. I thought her name was like Luna.
Oh, it was her mom's name. Good save.
Good save, bro. Good save.
And then Leia being like, you knew my mom. And he's like, no. I love are you my dad?
Are you my dad, Boogie Woogie?
And he's like, I wish I was. I was like, that's kind of creepy, but all right.
Well, because her dad is a psychopathic killer at this point.
He don't know that. He think he did.
No, he knows that Obi-Wan or Darth Vader's Anakin because of Reva, because of episode 2.
Oh yeah, duh. My bad. I was like, that's later when he could. Because again, I would have rather the reveal that he finds out Anakin's Vader is towards the end there, with the little showdown. I would have liked that more as the reveal. Oh, also, them suiting up and putting together Anakin, loved that.
Oh yeah.
Because all we've ever seen really before is them putting the helmet on him in the little helmet chamber. But I really like oh yeah, by the way, this man is like 80% robot, and I think people forget that. And I really liked that scene of them putting him together piece by piece.
And the thing I was really excited for when they got to the stop point and the Freck or whatever his name was, it's like, yeah, I got some people, you might want to check them out. And Obi-Wan starts killing them, and then the one falls through the laser gate and just gets
cut in half. Yeah.
I was like, oh dang. I'm just so glad that people are getting dismembered. That's really bad, but
it's really bad, but at the same time it's like, no, I get you. Because they're doing it in smart ways too. It's not like it's not egregious and like bloody and gross. No, I mean he fell through a laser, he got cauterized. It's not like you're seeing anything, you're just seeing some pieces.
Yeah.
It's just more realistic, and I appreciate it.
Yeah. And then they actually run into the person that was going to help them. And she brings them to the little port town.
Mm-hmm.
And I was really, really thinking the pilot was going to, I think his name's like Grief Karga, the pilot from Jedi Fallen Order, because Hayden Christensen said there's a tie to a video game. And I'm like pretty sure they're gonna tie it to Jedi Fallen Order. I just don't know how yet because I don't know if we're gonna see like Cal
Did you just say
Kestis.
Grief Karga? That's
I did say,
that's Carl Weathers' character in
yeah.
Mandalorian.
I realized that now. I apologize, Star Wars fans. Forgive me. I whatever the pilot's name is from Fallen Order. I'm pretty sure his name starts with a G.
It's Grease.
Grease,
Right?
I think so. But
anyway,
they get
the little guy, little dude, little guy.
They get to the port town, and then you
Well, who do
find
you
out
think Obi-Wan saw? By the way, when the hooded figure when they first got there.
that was Anakin.
Okay, good job.
Grease. It is Grease. Grease Dritus.
Wow, some Star Wars fan.
Sorry.
No,
but you see that a lot of there are still a lot of Jedi out there.
Yeah, the little
and
where they etch their name. Also, really strange that they signed it like it was the backstage of like a famous theater, and they sign it because they performed there. That's the same vibe.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's to be like, the people that are brought there for help, all the Jedi.
They see that there's others out there, and they're like, oh
yeah,
yeah.
Which I'm glad Quinlan Voss still alive.
Yeah.
I was surprised that was the Jedi they chose to keep alive and mention.
Yeah.
But I still like him a lot. I like Quinlan Voss. I don't know a whole lot about him. But still a great character.
Yes.
And then Revo is like, send out the probes. And that's he shot a probe. Obi-Wan shot a probe, and so they come to the little port town with Vader.
That was so badass.
That was up around the corner. That was so intimidating.
And he just started being just brutally just murdering these innocent people.
Like when he walked by, and that little kid is like, "No, don't!" And then he just snaps the kid's neck.
His neck. Yeah.
And the kid just falls like a sack of potatoes. I was like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah, and just when he started dragging the lady through the street, I was like, "See, this is what we never really got to see, was Vader being freaking just an atrocious monster. That's why everyone's so scared of him."
And then eventually, because that was really cool, how he was about ready to escape, and then he senses Vader, and so he goes to the door, and he sees Anakin as Vader for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just filled with all this guilt and fear and just hopelessness. It's just wow.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously he's like, "Hey Leia, go with her. I'll meet you later." And then, they go down the tunnel, and then she leaves Leia. Obviously that went wrong.
I thought for a second, I was like, "Oh, well, this lady's dead because she's gonna run into Reese or whatever." But then, somehow she found another exit, I guess, and went and helped.
I had no idea how, because I thought Reva went down the exact same tunnel from the same start point as Leia, and then she ended up at the end before she did.
I think she just
no idea.
I think it was just big brain time where she was like, "Oh, this isn't the direction of the port," and so she went straight there instead. Because I don't know if when they showed the first part of the tunnel, it sprawled off a few different ways. That's also how I think the one lady got back through and popped up somewhere else, is because she knows where they are. And I mean, there's different exits, I'm sure.
And then you see Obi-Wan fight Vader for the first time, but he is
weak. When that saber's ignited, I was just monkey brain activate when the saber's ignited. Oh, I was so excited, man.
Well, you could just see the difference in power.
Just got his
Vader
ass
to Obi-Wan, just absolutely annihilated. And you could that was, I think, one of the culminating moments of just showing how broken Obi-Wan is.
Yes.
And how much he doesn't know what he's doing anymore. He's not the same Jedi he was.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't have the same mentality anymore. He's not the same combat specialist that he was. Because Anakin, in episode 3, I think it was, he compared Obi-Wan, saying that he has the same combat ability as Mace Windu and the same force ability as Yoda. He's as wise as Yoda. And you didn't see any of that there. You just saw a sad man getting beaten on.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he gets dragged through the fire.
Dude, when he knocked over that the lava rock coals, I was like, okay, is he gonna ignite this and pull a Mustafar on this man? And then he did.
He starts pulling, and you see her Obi-Wan screaming in pain.
And he's
Darth
like, no,
Vader's
this is just the start.
Yeah. And then this is where people had issues, which I understand to an extent, but at the same time, I think it makes sense. Like the way you explained it to me earlier today. Because he puts the fire out, and then stormtroopers show up, and he's like, "Bring me Obi-Wan," and
Yeah.
then that character, I don't remember her name, but she shoots the
Tala.
stormtrooper, and then lights the coals again, and people don't understand why. Like Darth Vader, because at this point, this is the first time he's seen Obi-Wan since Mustafar, since
Mm-hmm.
his whole life was completely like destroyed, since Padme died, and all this anger and resentment he has towards Obi-Wan,
Mm.
and why he didn't walk through the fire, why he didn't put out the fire again, why he just felt so timid
Yeah.
at that point.
You find if I explain it again?
Yeah, go ahead.
So I think it's a great example. Like both, I think the fact that people were pissed off about it's a great example of why not everyone can write movies and TV, honestly, or write in general, because it would have been such. It's just like dialogue with Tarantino, the video that you and I have seen where they're talking about why the interaction at the end of Inglourious Bastards is so brilliant, where Hans Landa figures out it's the bastards, but doesn't let it be known immediately. It's the same concept. So what I mean by that is it would have been such an easy play out if Vader just went back at him, so maybe they get away somehow. Yeah, there's an easy out. But it's such smart writing to have him be like, you know what? Sure, let them have their tiny ounce of hope. But you already were scared of me, and now that you've seen what I can do, you're even more scared. And the lives that are going to be lost because I didn't get what I want here. You escaped, and you saw what I did walking down a street, just knowing you were around. Imagine what's going to happen if I chase you across the galaxy. Like, there's going to be so much more fear and angst and guilt on Obi-Wan's part. Is what Vader's character is probably, or is what Vader's thinking is why he didn't pursue. I mean, we've seen it before, like when the escape pod launches at the end of Rogue One and into, A New Hope. He just stands there and watches it. He doesn't go after it. It's the same concept. He's like, all right, yeah, you can run. I'll catch you. Like, it's gonna happen. I'm gonna catch you, and you're gonna just be scared. You're just gonna die scared.
Yeah, or like you know what I can do, and all these people are gonna keep dying while I chase you, and
Yep.
it's their blood and their lives are on your hands.
It's so smart. It's brilliant writing, man. I applaud it. It's so good. It's so good. People that are upset about it clearly never took a film writing class. That's all I'm gonna say.
Because like, I mean, it makes sense. Because like, yeah, Vader, he is this warmonger, and he hates Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
And
And
it
yeah,
would make sense.
he totally could have put the coals out. He could have gone after him, but then you don't have a show too.
Yeah, I mean,
like
I'm sure they'll explain it more in the next episode.
That'll be something, yeah.
As to why Darth Vader didn't follow
Yes.
or capture Obi-Wan there.
Yep.
But I think later in the season, because it's going to be when Obi-Wan, which is pretty much right now, when Obi-Wan's at his weakest point, when he's going to interact with Qui-Gon.
Yes.
And that's when, he's actually going to start, getting his Force abilities back and start to become a little bit more hopeful.
Right.
And then I think that last episode, or second last episode, probably the last episode, we're going to see him beat Vader in combat. And that is what's going to make him hopeful for the future and hopeful for Luke.
You think beat him, or just you think it's going to be something more like he might save someone from him, and like he wins but doesn't necessarily beat him, like the same beat him in the sense like they beat him at the end of Fallen Order where nobody died but they got away.
But yeah, maybe something like that. Or I'm curious to see how it ties to a certain video game. I hope Hayden wasn't lying to us. I don't think he would.
No, he wouldn't lie. It's curious to see what it'll be, because there's so many it could be.
Oh yeah,
maybe they pull someone in from like I don't even know, man. I don't even actually know. I'm gonna shut up.
If I saw Star Killer, I would lose my shit.
Yeah,
it won't happen, but
that would have been cool.
Yeah,
and I can see it being something with Fallen Order easily. That's a really easy one to play off of because it's the most recent.
Yeah. And the most popular, especially now that they announced the trailer for the second game.
So bussin'.
And I don't know if we'll see it this season. Ewan McGregor said he's open to doing another season.
Yeah. We'll
So
see
because
we'll see what happens with the story,
yeah,
because
because
maybe they have a full story, because it's technically a limited series.
yeah, because I want to see because in comics, how Black Chrysanthemum, who's the big, for those of you who may or may not remember, no, he's the big Wookiee that we see in the Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah.
The Wookiee bounty hunter, and he gets a scar on his face from Obi-Wan because
I just want to
Obi-Wan
see how that
defending
happened.
Lars. And because Black Chrysanthemum knows something, and he goes after Lars, and then Obi-Wan has to step in.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, and that's how Lars actually starts respecting and liking Obi-Wan a little bit more.
Right.
But
I don't think he
still
ever likes him as much as maybe just respects him.
Yeah. But it's 3 more episodes, 3 more weeks. I'm really excited.
And I'm sure in the next couple up, like the next few episodes we do of this until the show's over, they won't be nearly as rapid fire because we won't be covering 3 in one. It'll be one at a time. So, yeah, look forward to that.
Yeah, let us know what you guys think of the series so far. If you guys are enjoying it,
or if you're not.
Or how do you think certain characters are going and what you like to see.
And with
we
that,
love interacting with you guys.
Yeah, and with that, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.